Hi friends, this is Lady Flora, and in this video I want to tell you about my amazing water birth. But first, if you're new here, I have a 6-year-old girl songbird and I have a 3-year-old boy man cub, and now I have a newborn little bear. We make lots of other videos on this channel about homeschooling and curriculum reviews and crafts and projects and adventures and things like that. So if you're interested in that, you can subscribe. So as I mentioned in one of my other videos, my son and my daughter both came around the same time. They were both born around 41 weeks and 3 or 4 days. So I was totally expecting this one to come in the same manner. However, he likes to do things a little differently, I'm noticing. And so the day before his due date, I had some very mild contractions. So I took a hot shower because they say if you're having false contractions, that a hot shower will just relax you and tone them down and make it go away. So that's what I did. I went to work that day and took a hot shower. The contractions went away, but I was still really like, well, that was weird. That was unusual. And I messaged a few people. I messaged my boss and I was like, by the way, this might happen a little sooner than I thought. I know I have a certain date set as the beginning of my maternity leave, but I suspect that things might happen a little differently than I'm imagining. So the next day, which actually happened to be his due date. Now we know due dates are pretty random and it's pretty rare to actually have your baby on your due date. So on his due date there was nothing, no contractions, nothing. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever, let's go back to thinking 41 weeks and a few days. The day after his due date, I get up early, I get ready to go to work, and I am having contractions all day. Now I have to get up pretty early and go to work, and I'm in the office all by myself. It's very dark, it's very quiet, and I have some really important, timely work that I have to do first thing in the morning. So I'm thinking, okay, can I make it to work to do this? I don't want to call someone in, you know, at the crack of dawn. It's still dark out. I don't want to call someone and be like, sorry, I can't come in today, I'm having contractions. So I go into work and I do the thing I'm supposed to do, and it's fine. I survived. I didn't have the baby at work, and I'm thinking, well, I'll just stay here. The contractions were pretty far apart and they were pretty mild. They were like between 7 and 15 minutes apart. And of course I could talk through them and I could walk through them and all of that great stuff. But around lunch break, I went home, which is what I always do on my lunch break. Pause for the jets. I was like, well, while I'm here, I might as well take a shower. And the contractions did not stop this time. But they were still pretty far apart. Yes, I know. I know. So I went back to work. I let the midwives know at the birth center. I told my coworkers as well, because I was like, people need to know what's going on. Even if nothing happens, that's better than something happening and no one realizing it and it being a surprise. So finally, it is time for me to leave work and go home. And I'm driving home and I'm definitely feeling contractions as I'm driving. They're a little stronger this time. Where was I? Oh yes. I come home from work, I tell my husband, I think things are happening. I message my boss, I think things are happening. And the whole time I'm thinking, am I just imagining this? Am I just wanting him to come now? So I'm moving things along a little bit faster in my mind. Am I just like super excited? Is this that time at the beginning in early labor where you get very excited and you start to tell everybody that you're in labor, and then it stops, and then you're like, oh, never mind. So I was really suspicious of my own feelings, and I was really kind of hesitant to believe that something was happening, but yet something was definitely happening. Again, I take a shower. Contractions do not stop, and they are getting closer together. They are definitely getting closer together, and now I'm getting nervous. So the plan was to have my mom and dad come over and stay at our house and watch my 6-year-old and 3-year-old while we went to the birth center. And I was really hoping that that would not happen in the middle of the night. But also I was hoping it wouldn't happen during rush hour either. We have a 25-minute drive to the birth center in a high traffic sort of area. So I got really nervous, and I have to say I had been at work all week. The house was a mess, and I had no idea what to make for dinner for my kids, and I was just floundering. I was really flustered, and I did not know what to do. So finally I worked up the nerve. I'm not a phone person, but I finally worked up the nerve to call the birth center, and I was like, here's what I think is happening. And I thought they were gonna make me like have a contraction over the phone or whatever, but they didn't. They were like, just come in right away. So that was great, because I really didn't want to do that on the phone. Called my mom. My mom said she was coming. My husband and I just got ready. What did we even do? I don't even know. I think I had a bag that was mostly packed, and the bag just had like some baby clothes in there, a newborn diaper, my bathrobe. So I was a little tiny bit prepared. My husband made macaroni and cheese for the kids, which is not like my favorite thing to feed them, but we were desperate. And so turns out they loved it and they ate all of it. But so my mom came, and she's looking at me like, really? Are you really in labor? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. So we get in the car, we're driving, and it's just a really exciting, emotional, strange time. And my husband and I start kind of laughing and joking and saying, this is like we're on a date. Like the parents are watching the kids, it's just you and me, we're driving somewhere. So we're in the car, and it's 6:30, and the traffic is not really that bad. It wasn't like we got every red light. It was pretty amazing. The birth center was hopping. It was full of people, and they only have 3 rooms at this birth center, and both of them were full. 2 of them were full. One was empty, and thank God. And they had just had like multiple births that day. Multiple families coming in and having babies that day. So I got 2 midwives meeting me in the hallway, and I paused to have a little contraction, and again, I'm smiling and I'm laughing and I'm thinking, is this for real? And then in that moment, the contraction, my hands were shaking. And I was like, okay, so something really is going on. Like, this isn't just happy fun time, early labor. Like, maybe this is real stuff. So they say, we want to listen to the heartbeat. What would you like to do while we listen to the heartbeat? And I'm like, I'll just lay down on the bed. I would really just like to lay down on my side. So I lay down on my side, and the midwife comes over to listen to the heartbeat, and this is what I remember her saying. Like, she's looking at me, we're listening for a long time, and she goes, would you like me to blah, 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 blah. And my mind goes completely blank. I cannot understand anything she's saying, and I'm like, just a second. And I have a huge contraction. Like, it was not like the others. It was a serious contraction. It was a big deal. And then I feel this little feeling like as if Baby Bear was giving me a little kick. And then just water. And I was like, oh, I think my water just broke. Then I just got up and I went to the tub and I got in the tub. We were even talking like, well, what music should we play? We forgot the birth mix, and we forgot our beautiful M83 epic birth mix, and maybe let's find something on YouTube. There was no time for that. I was in the tub and my husband was next to me. He was not in the tub, and I was having these huge contractions. If my other contractions were small, these were the exact opposite. They were big and long. The other ones were small and short. These were huge, and they kept going. And you know, when you're having a contraction, there's a pause. You kind of go up a wave, you kind of ride the wave, and then you're up having your contraction, and then it kind of comes down, and you take a break, and you're like, whew, that was intense, but now I feel fine. These were long, and I was thinking, isn't there supposed to be a break between these? You guys, I was in transition for real. And my amazing husband was like, you are doing great. And he kept saying that to me over and over. And he was like, your breathing is great. And I was like, my breathing? I'm like, oh yeah, I am breathing. I forgot I'm breathing. It was very intense. I was vocalizing. And that's kind of a scary moment, I think, for any mom. I mean, we don't like to use that word with natural birth, but you know, let's be honest, it's a very, very strong sensation, and sometimes you feel like there's absolutely no control over it. And I was remembering one of the affirmations, which is, labor is not stronger than me because it is me. And so I said that to myself in my head, and that was encouraging. And of course, I always say, you know, with God, all things are possible. And I just think about how God designed our bodies to do this incredible thing. And yeah, we can talk about like, oh, after the fall of man, childbirth became painful. You can talk about that, but honestly, I think it's an invitation to share in Christ's suffering. And that is an honor, and that is a huge blessing. And that might sound really weird to you. I'm sorry, but that's where I was at in my mind. And I was like, really, but at the same time, you don't know how long it's going to be. And my son, his labor was just as intense, but it was 3 hours. 3 hours. And I'm like, am I going to be doing this for 3 hours or longer? So I had this really big contraction, and I was like, I feel like this is the one where I push and his head comes out. And I was like, no. I've only been in here like a few minutes. I don't think this is the one. This is not the one. We got to be in here a lot longer before that to happen. But it was that one. And this was the only labor I've ever had where I had this like uncontrollable, people talk about the uncontrollable urge to push. And honestly, I think that was from the breathing. I think that was from all the deep breathing that I did. My body just pushed, and I kid you not, the head came out. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it, and nobody else could believe it either. My husband has always caught the babies, and I don't know, for some reason this time I was like, I kind of want to experience that. I want to be right there. And he was like, absolutely. He's so pro like natural birth and everything. He loves it. So I got up on my knees and looked down, and this all was happening so fast. I looked down, and there is his head and his arm. I couldn't believe it. And so I reached down, and the midwife's like, wait, and his umbilical cord was around his neck, which is actually pretty common, and rarely is it a cause for danger. And so she just like really quickly put her hands in the water and just moved the umbilical cord off from around his neck. I guess I pushed again, and I reached down and just pulled him up to my chest, and I just was so amazed, and he just looked so beautiful and like underwater, like his hair was sticking up all spiky, which was just like my daughter when she was born. Her hair was like all spiky. I don't know. It was just so sweet and amazing. It's funny the things that like stick with you and make an impression. And so I just pulled him up to my chest, and I was just like, he's here. I can't believe he's here. And I was only in the tub for 30 minutes. I was only in the water for 30 minutes. And I was at the birth center for like 5 minutes. before getting in the tub. It was crazy how fast everything went. Oh my gosh. Honestly, like, I just didn't have time to get exhausted. Like, I did not have time to get tired and to get worn out. It was hard work, but it was 30 minutes. It was like, I don't know, like maybe like a 30-minute CrossFit workout. I've never done CrossFit, but I've heard they're pretty intense. So maybe it was like a 30-minute run, or like, yeah, it was just like a really intense 30-minute workout with a lot of vocalizations. And then he was here, he was born. It was incredible. I was praying that I would have a peaceful and joyful labor, and I don't even know where I got that idea. I think it was just straight from God himself. Sometimes he tells us what to pray for, and that is what I was praying for, and that is exactly what happened. It was a peaceful, joyful labor. It was incredible, and I feel so tremendously blessed to have experienced that. So thank you so much for watching. Please stay tuned for some other videos. I'm going to do a video about what I did to prepare for my third natural birth, and what I think helped and what didn't help, and maybe somewhere in there I'll do a video about my favorite baby items, and of course more videos to come in the homeschooling front. We are schooling through the summer, learning some cursive and telling time and things like that, but stay tuned for those videos if you're interested. And now I want to hear what you have to say, so like, share, subscribe, and comment away. And after you do that, please go outside and have a sublime day.